We're sort of like pirates. But we're not playing games because, for 47 years, Iran has been pushing everybody around. They're the bully of the Middle East.
Donald Trump just gave a speech to a room full of Wall Street investors about his war. And what he said should concern every single American, regardless of which party they support.
You get friendly with brutal people, too. I'm dealing with some quite brutal people right now in the lovely country of Iran. They are very brutal, and I will tell you, we're doing very well. You cannot give Iran a nuclear weapon. It's all I can say. You cannot. Because they would use it on a place called Israel very quickly, and they would use it in the Middle East, and they'd use it in Europe, and I guess we'd be next, and it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. We've taken their Air Force is non-existent. It's gone. Their Navy, they had a very strong Navy. They had the strongest Navy by far in the Middle East, many times over. They have 159 ships. Every single ship is at the bottom of the sea right now. They have no anti-aircraft capacity. They have no radar. They have no leaders. Actually, their leaders are all gone, too. It's part of our problem. We don't know who the hell we're dealing with. They call up, this is Mohammed so-and-so, and I say, are you a leader? We're looking for a leader. It's the only country in the world, nobody wants to be a leader. They say, would anybody like to be president? And there are no takers.
We don't know who we're dealing with. That is the President of the United States describing an active war he started. They have no leaders left, and we do not know who to negotiate with. He said that out loud to a room of investors and framed it as a success story.
But I think we're doing a great job over there, actually. We have they used the Hormuz Strait as a weapon for many, many years. They said they'll close it. So they closed it, then I closed it on them, which is sort of, they want a little business, they get no business. But it's going to work out because everything works out. You look at what we did with Venezuela. That was an amazing military maneuver. And now we have a great relationship with Venezuela. 100 million barrels of oil we've already sold. It goes down to Texas. It goes to be refined in Texas. 100 million. We're going to be over the next month, it's going to be another 100 million. And you'll be happy to hear this because you're a lot of great business people here. This is the first war that you've seen in the United States for a long time where we actually have paid for the cost of the war by about 37 times already. In other words, it costs us a lot. We had those big, beautiful aircraft carriers, lots of planes and everything else, but we've paid for it many, many times over.
The first war that paid for itself 37 times over. He is describing a military conflict in the Middle East like a business deal that turned a profit. To the people in that room, this landed perfectly. To the families of the service members in that conflict, I wonder how it sounded.
And we're getting along great with the people, the leaders of the country, and we're working with them very closely, and they're relying on us totally, and the relationship is very good, and they're doing more business now than they've done in 15 years probably, and we have the oil companies all moving in. The big American oil companies are all moving in. It's really been amazing. And then I said, well, all right, now we can take a little pause. We ended up doing you all know, you people that probably see the stock market more than almost anybody in the world. There's no group in the world that's more stock market oriented than the people in front of me. Many of you are responsible for some of those successful stocks, but the stock market hit today an all-time high again. It hit one yesterday, hit one the day before, during what they call a military operation. They don't like the word war, and they call it a military operation because that way you don't have a war, you don't have legal problems.
They call it a military operation because that way you don't have a war and you don't have legal problems. He just explained exactly why they chose that language. Not for accuracy, not for the public. To avoid legal consequences. He said that out loud.
Problems. But you ever hear a situation where we're knocking the hell out of somebody and we have a Congress, please, you've only got 3 days left. We spent 19 years in Vietnam. We spent 12 years in Iraq. We spent 7 years in another place, 2 years in another one, 7 years in another one. We had another one for 14 years. And we're in there for 6 weeks. What's taking so long? Now, we could leave right now. Right now, if we left right now, it would take them 20 years, 25 years to rebuild the place. But we're not doing it because we have to do it totally right. We don't want to have somebody coming back in 5 years and you have an incompetent president, which we just went through 4 years of a very terrible situation, very incompetent. But this should have been done long before I got to office, so we had to do it. The crazy thing is I had all my financial people, Scott, Howard, all of the different people. And we're celebrating the success because we have the highest stock market. We broke 50,000 on the Dow. Nobody thought it was possible. They said maybe at the end of the fourth year, but probably in 6 years, 5 years, but not during this term. It's too much. We did it at the end of the first year. Then we broke 7,000 on the S&P. We did that at the end of this year, long ahead of schedule. And then I said, we have the most successful, by the way, more oil is being drilled right now than at any time in the history of our country. We're doing double, think of this, we're doing double Saudi Arabia and Russia combined, double Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. Nobody knows that. And you see all of those big, gorgeous ships coming up from all over the world because the strait is closed by us, and they're coming to Texas now and Louisiana to load up, big ones. 2 million barrels of oil, the big ones, those are the big ones. And they're all heading up, and you see the line, they call it the conga line. I don't know what that's supposed to represent. But you see those graphs, it's made from Space Force, We were
Congress gets
responsible.
3 days, and he is annoyed by it. 19 years in Vietnam, 12 in Iraq, and he is frustrated that Congress wants more than 72 hours to weigh in on an active war. The conga line of oil tankers heading to Texas is apparently the metric for
Space
success
Force,
here.
We were responsible for Space Force. We needed Space Force. We were being killed in space by China, by Russia. In my first term, I created Space Force. First time in 79 years that we did a new division, a new grouping, because you had the Marines, the Army, Navy, the Marines. We had the Coast Guard. We have all of the different branches of government, the Air Force. And they thought the Air Force and the Space Force would stay together, but the Air Force wants the Air Force. They're not going to give, and space is so important now, and we did Space Force, and all of those things, many of those things that you're saying is because of Space Force. And now Space Force we were losing badly in space to Russia and China militarily. Now we're way in the lead, way in the lead. We have the greatest space capacity of any country in the world. So we're very proud of that. We need it. We need it for protection because it's a nasty world out there. We need it for protection. So we're very proud of Space Force, but they, among other things, they give you beautiful satellite pictures of what's happening in the world. And when you look at the Hormuz Strait and you see all of those ships, all of those people and ships that they want to get out or they want to get in, they're all over the place. They're like little ants, right? They look like a little anthill. And hundreds and hundreds of ships. And we have a Navy that is unbelievable. We put up, it's a blockade. It's a blockade. And you saw the other day where a massive tanker, this was bigger than 2 million barrels, a massive tanker was trying to run it, and the young captain of the ship from Annapolis, these guys are like central casting. You could put him in. I'd say something about Tom Cruise. I was going to say better looking than Tom Cruise and taller, but I'm not going to do that because he's a friend of mine. I can't do that. But they're like central cast. You could move them to Hollywood right now. They'd be movie stars. But you saw him saying, we have guns trained on your ship. Turn your ship around. Turn, and this is loudspeakers that go over the ocean, and they hear them from 2 miles away. Turn your ship around. Turn your ship around. And all of a sudden yes, we are going back to Iran. We are going back. They turned it around. It takes 10 miles to turn the sucker. It's not like turning around a bicycle. It's big stuff. And then we had the other one you saw from 4 days ago where they were going to ram we call it an iron wall. It's essentially an iron wall. We have such great military and great Navy. And they were going straight through. And they said, turn your ship around. And There was no response. Turn your ship around. Evacuate your engine room immediately. And you see all these guys running out of there. Now, they're 5 miles away, and one shot into the engine room, blew up the engine room, the ship stopped. They used tugboats, and then we landed on top of it. On top of everything else, we then land on top of it, and we took over the ship. We took over the cargo, took over the oil. It's a very profitable business. Who would have thought we were doing that? We're like pirates.
We're sort of like pirates. The President of the United States just described seizing foreign cargo ships and their oil as a profitable business and compared it to piracy, and the room loved it. Think about what that means for every international shipping lane on the planet when other countries start applying the same logic.
We're sort of like pirates. But we're not playing games because, for 47 years, Iran has been pushing everybody around. They're the bully of the Middle East. They've been scaring everybody, Israel and Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, all of them. They're all, it was the bully of the Middle East, I understand it.
Let us take a step back and look at what just happened. The President of the United States stood in front of a room full of Wall Street investors and delivered a war briefing that sounded like an earnings call. He talked about oil profits, stock market records, and piracy in the same breath as an active military conflict. He bragged that the war paid for itself 37 times over. He admitted they do not know who is left in charge of Iran because all the leaders are gone. He explained that they call it a military operation specifically to avoid legal problems, and he announced that he is now personally endorsing foreign heads of state.